A night bus runs from 21:50 to 5:18 the next day. Work out the number of hours and minutes that the night bus runs. So we're starting from 21:50. So if we, from 21:50 go to 22, that's 10 minutes. And from 22, we go to 23, we go to 24. Then the next day starts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 1 hour over here, 1 hour over here, 1 here, 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 and here. So that's a total of 7 hours. Then after 5, we're going to 5:18, which is 18 minutes. These are the hours. Seven hours plus 10 minutes plus 18 minutes. And that's basically 7 hours and 28 minutes. This is how long it takes for the night bus to run. Calculate the square root of 5.76 plus 2.8 cube. Now 5.76 can be rewritten as 576 over 100 plus 2.8 cube. 576 is a square number because it's basically 24 square. And 100 is also a square number, which is 10 square. So 24 over 10 plus 2.8 cube. 24 over 10 is 2.4. So 2.4 plus 2.8 cube is going to give us 24.352. That is your answer. Then say simplify 4m plus 7k minus m plus 3k. So this is basically collecting like terms. Like terms are terms where they have the same variable and the variables are raised to the same power. So we have two variables over here, m and k. So for m, we have 4m and minus m. So let's write that together. And then we have 7k and 3k. So you rewrite the expression by writing the like terms together. 4m minus m is 3m, and 7k plus 3k is 10k. So 3m plus 10k is the answer. Question 4 says the diagram shows a net of a cuboid with its base shaded. The length of the cuboid is 10 centimeters. Its width is 4 and the height is 5 centimeters. Write in the values of A, B, C, and D. If the length of the cube is 10 centimeters, that means B is 10. So if this is 10, this is also 10. This is also 10, this is 10, and this is 10. Now, if the width is 4 centimeters, that means C is 4. So this is also 4, which means these are also equal to 4, 4, and 4. Now the height is given as 5. So this, out of these are 5, which means D is going to be, this is also 4, and this is also 4. D is going to be 4 plus 5, which is 9 centimeters. B we said is 10. C we said is 4. A is going to be the sum of 4, 10, and 4 again, which is 18 centimeters. These are your values for A, B, C, and D. There are 20 cars in a car park, and 3 of the cars are blue. James wants to draw a pie chart to show this information. Find the angle of the sector for the blue cars in this pie chart. So if 3 of the cars are blue, so that's 3 out of 20. And to find the angle of the sector, you times the fraction for the blue cars by 360. because 3/20th of the pie chart represents your blue cars. If they're asking us to find the percentage instead of the angle, then you would multiply the fraction by 100, which we discussed previously as well. So this will give us 3 times 18, and that's equal to 54 degrees. Then one of the 20 cars is picked at random. Find the probability that this car is not blue. So if 3/20th of the cars were blue, the probability of the car not being blue would be 1 minus 3 over 20, which is 17 over 20. To find the probability of an event not happening, you subtract the probability of the event happening from 1, and that gives you the remaining probability. Write AB as a column vector. So to write AB as a column vector, we can see that the coordinates of B are -3 and 4, and A is 7, 1. Column vector AB is basically vector OB minus OA. So OB is -3, 4, and OA is 7, 1. So we subtract the x value from the x value and the y from y. So -3 minus 7 and 4 minus 1, and that's -10 and 3. That's your column vector AB. Question 7 says, as the temperature increases, the number of people who go swimming increases. Write on the type of correlation that the statement describes. So as the temperature is increasing, the people who are swimming are also increasing. So when both things are increasing, that means it's positive correlation. If one thing is increasing and the other is decreasing, then it's negative correlation. Question 8 says the nth term of a sequence is n squared minus 3. Find the first 3 terms of the sequence. So for the first term, which is t1, we'll put n equals to 1. So 1 squared minus 3, that's -2. For second term, we put n equals to 2. So that's 4 minus 3, which is +1. And for the third term, we put n equals to 3, which is equal to 9 minus 3, and that's 6. So -2, 1, and 6. Part B says these are the first 5 terms of a different sequence. Find the nth term of the sequence. So if we look at the sequence, you can see that these numbers in the 3 times table. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Then 3 times 9 is 27. And 9 times 9 is 81. So if you notice, it's basically 3 being raised to the power of 1, 2, and 3. 3 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 3, and 3 to the power of 4. Now, what is 1? If you remember your rules of indices, anything raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1, which means the first term is 3 to the power of 0. So what's going to be the nth term now over here? It's not going to be 3 to the power of n, because if we choose 3 to the power of n, then our first term for the sequence should be 3, not 1. Hence, that means we're going to write 3 to the power of n minus 1 as the nth term. Because if we find the first term using this, 1 minus 1 is 0. Then for the second one, 2 minus 1 is 1. Third one, 3 minus 1, 2, and so on. So nth term is 3 to the power of n minus 1. Question 10 says a diagram shows a trapezium PQRS. Calculate the area of the trapezium. For the area of the trapezium, we use the formula of 1 over 2 times height times sum of parallel sides. So now over here, 3.8 is our height, and these two are our parallel sides. Parallel lines are those lines which never intersect. So that's S, R, and PQ. So it's going to be 1 over 2 times 3.8 times 5.3 plus 8.7. So that's going to be 1 over 2 times 3.8. 5.3 plus 8.7 is going to be 14. 2 ones are 2, 2 sevens are 14. So 3.8 times 7 is going to give us 26.6 centimeters squared. That's the area. So first we convert the mixed number into an improper fraction, and that can be done by multiplying the denominator with the whole number and then adding the result to the numerator. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5 over 4 minus 5 over 6. Now, since we're subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, we have to make the denominator same. So to make the denominator same, we have to find the lowest common multiple. So lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So that means we multiply the first fraction by 3 and second fraction by 2. The reason why we're multiplying these fractions by 3 and 2 is because we changed the denominator. The denominator is 12. 4 becomes 12 by being multiplied by 3. So if we're multiplying 4 by 3, we have to multiply 5 by 3 as well. Same logic applies to 5 over 6. Since 6 becomes 12 by being multiplied by 2, that means 5 will be multiplied by 2 as well. So numerator will now be 15 minus 10, which is 5 over 12. This is our fraction in simplest form. We cannot further simplify these numbers. Then lastly, question 25 says, the highest common factor of two numbers is 6. The lowest common multiple of the two numbers is 90. Both numbers are greater than 6. Work out the two numbers. Question 12 says, for each spin is a three-sided spinner with sides labeled A, B, and C. The probability that the spinner lands on C is 0.35. For each spins the spinner 40 times. Calculate the number of times he expects the spinner to land on C. So the probability of the spinner landing on C is 0.35, and he's spinning it 40 times. So you multiply the probability with the number of times the spinner is spun, and that's going to give us 14. Now remember, paper 2 is going to be non-calculator now. So when you're doing these calculations, obviously they'll give you terms that are easy to simplify as well, but you need to be aware of the tricks as well. So 0.35 can be rewritten as 35 over 100. So what we have is 35 over 100 times 40. First, you can begin with cancelling out the 0. So 1 0 from the numerator, 1 from the denominator. Now 35 and 10 come in the same times table. 35 is 5 times 7, and this is 5 times 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4. Simplifying a fraction can be done vertically and diagonally, not horizontally. So now you have 7 times 2, and that's 14. So you need to practice more on these tiny little tricks of how to convert the decimal into a fraction and then simplifying it, because multiplying these two is also possible, but that would be more time consuming compared to you just simplifying and then multiplying just 7 and 2. So you need to be more aware of these numbers and how you can make the question easier for you to solve. Then 13 says the bearing of B from A is 107. Calculate the bearing of A from B. That means A is going to be over here and B is going to be somewhere over here. We draw the north at A and at B, and we assume this is 107 because we're talking about the bearing of B from A. So that means we draw the angle at A. So they're saying calculate the bearing of A from B now. So now they want us to find this entire angle. Remember, the bearing is always calculated from the north, and it's calculated in the clockwise direction from the north. So if we split this into an axis, we can see that this thing is 180. Remember that in parallel lines, alternate angles are equal. These two knots are parallel lines, and this transversal that connects A and B is passing through these two knots. So which means the angle at the top is equal to the angle at the bottom. So this is also 107 degrees. Which means the bearing is going to be the sum of 180 and 107. It's going to be 287 degrees. So for bearings, you need to be very familiar with your angles and parallel lines concept. And the most commonly used concept is alternate angles, where alternate angles are always equal in parallel lines. 14 says a train 1750 meters long is traveling at 55 kilometers per hour. Calculate how long it will take for the whole train to completely cross a bridge that is 480 meters long, giving your answer in seconds correct to the nearest second. First, we need to convert the speed into meters per second because it's in kilometers per hour. So speed in meters per second would be 55 times 1000. Why times 1000? Because 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. And then we divide it by 3600. So that's going to give us 15.277 meter per second. Now, time is basically distance over speed. Distance is going to be the length of the train and the length of the bridge. So 1750 plus 480 divided by the total speed is 15.277. That's going to give us 145.9. And since it says give your answer correct to the nearest second is going to be 146. That's the answer. Question 15 says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. Triangle A onto triangle B is clearly a reflection. And the reflection is in the line x equals to -2. It cannot be a translation because the direction of the object has changed. It is not a rotation because it's literally like on the opposite side. It's like, just facing the other way around. And it's not, what's it called? An enlargement because the size is also the same. So as you can see, it's a reflection because both the images are at equal distance from x equals to -2. So reflection in the line x equals to -2. Then it says describe fully the single transmission that maps triangle A onto triangle C. Now in this case, we can see that the size has changed, which means it's an enlargement. For the enlargement, we need the scale factor and we need the center of enlargement. So for the scale factor, we can see that if we compare two corresponding sides on A and C, on A, this length is 4 units long, and on C, it's 2 units, which means the scale factor used is 1/2. Enlargement. And now for the center, we connect corresponding points on both the shapes. So if we connect these two Then we connect these two. Yep. And then these two. As you can see, all three lines are passing through this point, which is -3 and -4. So the point where all three lines intersect, that is your center of enlargement. Then it says draw the image of triangle A after rotation 90 degrees clockwise about 1, 3. About 1, 3, that is your center of rotation. And we're rotating triangle A 90 degrees clockwise. The 90 degree clockwise means that it's going to be over here. So if this point is 1, 1, it's going to be 1, 1 over here as well. So this is where this point will be. This point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we mark this point over here, this point is 1 unit vertically from the center of rotation. So when you rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, it's going to be 1 unit horizontally from the center of rotation now. So it's going to come over here. So originally this point is 1 unit vertically away from the center. So now for the rotation, it's going to be 1 unit horizontally away from the center. Now if you pick this point, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. And it's 5 units vertically away. So now it's going to be 5 units horizontally away. And for the last point, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 vertically and 4 horizontally. So when we swap it, it's going to be the same 4 horizontally, 4 vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be over here. So now if we connect the dots, this is your rotation of triangle A about the point 1, 3, 90 degrees clockwise. Question 16 says we have a universal set where x is between 1 and 10. P is an even number and Q is a multiple of 5. Complete the Venn diagram. So even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 within the given range. And multiples of 5 are 5 and 10. That's it. So in the middle, we have the common ones, which are 10. So this is the intersection. P would have 2, 4, 6, 8. Q would have 5. And the remaining numbers which are not in set P and Q will come outside. So that's 1, 3, 7, and 9. So this is your Venn diagram. Question 17 says the height of each 200 people is measured. The table shows the results. Calculate an estimate for the mean height. So for the estimate of the mean height, we need to find the midpoint of the height class intervals. So for the midpoint, if I make a separate row over here, midpoint of 100 and 120 is 110. For 120 and 130, it's 125. For 130 and 150, it's 140. And for 150 and 190, it's going to be 170. So these are the midpoints of our class intervals. So now formula for mean is sigma fx over sigma f. Sigma fx means the sum of the product of f and x values for each interval. So that's going to be 110 times 32 plus 55 times 125 plus 64 times 140 and plus 49 times 170. So all of this gets divided by the total frequency, which is 200. So that is going to give us 138.425 as the mean height. Then question 18 says find the highest common factor HCF of 28x to the power 5 and 98x cubed. So if we rewrite 28x to the power 5 into its prime factors, that's basically 2 times 2 times 7, and then we're multiplying 5x. So these are the 5x's. And then for 98x cubed, that's going to be 2 times 7 times 7 times 3x's. So now if we compare the prime factors for both the terms, we can see that we have a 2 common and we have a 7 common. And for the variables, we have 3x's common. So it's going to be 2 times 7 times x, which is equal to 14x cubed. That is your highest common factor for these two terms. Question 19 says the speed time graph shows information about a bus journey. Calculate the total distance traveled by the bus. So if you have a speed time graph, your total distance is basically area under the graph. So to find area under the graph, we need to see what the shape of the graph is. You can see that this is a trapezium. Now, there are two ways of finding the area of this graph. You can either use the formula for the area of a trapezium, or you can split the shape into two triangles and one rectangle, find the area of each shape separately, and then add them up at the end. For area of trapezium, the formula we use is 1/2 times height times the sum of parallel sides. Our height is 15. This, if I highlight this part, this is your height, and these are your parallel sides. This one and this one. So this parallel side is a difference of 140 and 20, which is 120, and this one is 190. So that's going to be 120 plus 190. That's going to be 15/2 times 310, which equals to 2,325 meters. That is the area under the graph, and which is also your total distance traveled during this entire journey. Question 20 says calculate the area of triangle ABC. So to calculate the area of the triangle ABC, we can see that we have two lengths and the angle between them. So we can easily use the formula for the area of a non-right angle triangle, which is 1/2 times A times B times sine of angle C. So that's 1/2 times 5.6 times 4.9 times sine of 23, and that equals 5.36 centimeters square. That is the area of the triangle. Question 21 says write on the value of h. So the equation we have is 5th root of 3 equals to 3 to the power of h. So 5th root means that it's 3 to the power of 1/5. Just like square root 3 is the same as 3 to the power of 1/2. So 5th root is 3 to the power of 1/5. That's equal to 3 to the power of h. Now, when your bases are same on the both sides and they're not being added or subtracted to anything, we can put the powers equal to each other, and that means h is equal to 1/5. Then part B says simplify 4x cubed whole cube. So whenever there's a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket, we multiply the powers. And for 4, since every whole number has a power of 1. So you multiply 1 with 3. And over here, x with 3 and 3 over here. So that's 4 cube times x to the power of 9. 4 cube is 64. So 64 x to the power of 9 is your answer. In the case we have two similar bases being multiplied, then we add the powers. The bases are being divided, we subtract the powers. Then the next question it says, y is inversely proportional to the square of x plus 3 when x is 5, y is 0.375. Find y in terms of x. So y is inversely proportional to square root of x plus 3, which means y is k over x plus 3 squared. First, we need to begin with creating our equation. Then, using the values of x and y, we find the value of k. So 0.375 equals to k over 5 plus 3 whole squared. So 0.375 times 8 square. So 64 times 0.375 gives us the value of k, and that is going to be 24. Now, we will substitute this value of k back into the equation, which is y equals to 24 over x plus 3 whole square. And that's your answer, because they want the equation of y just in terms of x, not in terms of k and x. Question 23 says on the axis, sketch the graph of y equals to cos x for x is between 0 and 360. So for a cos x function, you have a maximum value of 1 and a minimum value of -1. It intersects the axis at 90 and 270. So this is 90, this is 270. This is between 0 and 30. Minimum value is -1, maximum is +1. So this is your graph. Then it says solve the equation cos x equals 0.294 for x is between 0 and 360. So we take cos inverse of 0.294, just going to give us 72.90. Now, cos is positive in the first quadrant and in the last one. So one value is 72.9. The other would be 360 minus 72.9. The reason why we're subtracting it from 360 is because the angle is measured from 0 in the anti-clockwise direction towards the line where the angle lies. So all of this is the angle that we're trying to find by subtracting 72.9 from 360. So that's 287.1 degrees. Those are your values of x. Then question 24 says that x squared minus 16 plus a can be written in the form of x plus b whole square. Find the value of a and b. So they're saying that x squared minus 16x plus a can also be written as x plus b whole square. So if we expand the brackets on the right-hand side, we are doing x plus b times x plus b, which is x squared plus xb plus xb plus b squared. So that's basically x squared plus 2xb plus b squared. The left-hand side is x squared minus 16x plus a. So if we compare the terms on each side, the x squared is the same. The -16 is equal to 2b, which means -16 divided by 2 equals to b, and that is -8 for b. And for a is equal to b squared. Since b is found to be -8, so -8 squared is equal to 64. So that is your value of a. Next question says that a bag contains 2 green buttons, 5 red buttons, and 6 blue buttons. 2 buttons are taken at random from the bag without replacement. Calculate the probability that the 2 buttons are different colors. So we can either have a green or a red, or red or green, because I don't know the order in which the button is taken. Like they haven't specified whether he took the green first or the red first. It can be the red first and the green later as well. Then it can be green and blue, or blue and green. Then red or blue, or blue or red. And these are all the combinations for him getting a different color when he takes 2 buttons. So for green, the probability is 2 over, total buttons are 13, so 2 over 3. Now this is without replacement, so that means every single time we take a button, there's one less button in the total number of buttons. So then red would be 5 over 12 now, because when you took the one green button, 13 becomes 12. Or it's 5 over 13 times 2 over 12. This is the case where we're taking red first and then green. Then if we take green first, that's 2 over 13 times 6 over 12. Or blue first, so 6 over 13 times 2 over 12 later. And for red and blue, we have 5 over 13 times 6 over 12, or 6 over 13 times 5 over 12. Every single time we're choosing a different color combination, you can see that we're adding the probabilities. So if we're taking green or red, we add that to red or green. Taking green or blue, that we added to blue or green, and so on. So these are the different probabilities that we get if we're taking a different color every time without any replacement. So that's going to be 10 over 156, plus again 10 over 156, 12 over 156, same gets repeated, and lastly it's 30 over 156 twice. So this all adds up to 104 over 156, which can be simplified to 2 over 3. So that is your simplified probability of getting 2 buttons of different colors. Next question says that A is the 0.61, B is the 0.27. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector if your answer in the form of y equals to mx plus c. So for the perpendicular bisector, if this is A and this is B and this is the perpendicular bisector, we need the midpoint first. Because bisector means that it's bisecting the line into 2 equal parts. And it can only bisect if it's passing through the midpoint. So for midpoint, we will do 6 plus 2 over 2, comma y plus 7 over 2. We're basically finding the average of the x coordinates and the y coordinates of the 2 given points. So that's 4 and 4. So this point is 4, 4. Now, it's a perpendicular line, so that means the gradient is going to be different from the gradient of the line AB. So gradient of AB is going to be 7 minus 1 over 2 minus 6. The gradient of the line AB is 6 over -4, which simplifies to -3 over 2. So perpendicular lines have a condition that gradient of one line times the gradient of the other line equals to -1. So in our case, gradient of the perpendicular line times -3 over 2 equals to -1, which means the gradient would be 2 over 3 for the perpendicular line. Now, using the point slope form, we can easily find the equation of this line. Point is 4, 4, so y minus 4 equals to 2 over 3 times x minus 4. Cross multiply. 3y minus 12 equals to 2x minus 8. Expand the brackets on the right-hand side. 3y equals to 2x minus 8 plus 12, which is going to be plus 4. So y is 2 over 3x plus 4 over 3. This is our equation in slope-intercept form.